Greetings, friends. Welcome to our new Torah Hebrew Immersion series. Immerse in Torah and Hebrew. Learn while working in the text. Discover a new reality. Learn Biblical Hebrew. Learn Torah structure. Aleph, Bet, Gimel, 1, 2, 3. And we shall be guided by the numerical structure of the Torah. Come and learn at your own pace. Language immersion. Learning a second language is an unnatural experience unless one's environment is multilingual by nature or necessity. This is one of a series of lessons that are designed to permit the learner to be simultaneously immersed in Torah and Hebrew. The lessons are aimed at removing the frustration of having to learn Hebrew before learning the Torah text. If our mission is successful, one will have difficulty differentiating whether he is learning Hebrew or Torah. Understanding our perspective of Torah and Hebrew immersion. The Torah, the first 5 books of the Hebrew Bible, is not only the primary source of instruction, it is the divine source of instruction. The Torah is written in the Hebrew language, which has both a numerical structure and linguistic embellishments. Now that's the Torah that has those things, a numerical structure and linguistic embellishments. The Torah is where one encounters the Creator, and to ignore either the language structure or embellishments automatically limits one's encounter with the Creator. Understanding our perspective of Torah and Hebrew immersion. Please enter the conversation as a family member. You are seated at the family table, and notebooks are not required here. You can take notes, of course, but there's no pressure to take notes. Just enjoy the conversation at the family table. Try to understand and interact with what you can at the moment. Don't be worried about what you might have missed or what's coming in the future. Just enjoy. Just take it in, what you can, all that you can experience at the moment. Don't be afraid to ask questions, but remember that only the text can provide absolute answers. So you must question the text. While the conversation may be ongoing, it continually cycles and recycles important information in multiple settings. You can pause, rewind, and review the conversation as you wish, but you don't really have to do that unless you wish to, because you will revisit this information in maybe a different venue or from a different perspective, but you will see these themes constantly reviewed over and over. This is a family discussion. All human beings have one spiritual father, so everyone belongs at the table. Our goal is sincere family fellowship involved in divine Torah conversation and not the arrogance of mixed knowledgeability. We study Torah here. We don't bring in outside sources, and that means Jewish sources, Christian sources, Muslim sources, secular sources. Yes, they can have valuable insights, and they can also have invaluable insights. We bring everything to the Torah and judge it by the Torah. So in our discussion, it's Torah only, no outside sources. Beit, according to the contextual primer of the Hebrew alphabet. From the rock-solid numerical structure of the Torah. Presented by Philip E. Stiefel. Avi Publications, avipublications.com. Now, our title here may be misleading to you because this is Beit according to the contextual primer of the Hebrew alphabet, and I told you we wouldn't use any outside sources. However, this primer is yet unpublished, but it uses no outside sources. It is totally contextual. Therefore, we are not abandoning our philosophy in any way. Okay? So we're going to be looking at a primer, just a beginning of the Hebrew alphabet, and we're going to be looking at Beit according to that primer, which is based on the context of the Torah and no other sources whatsoever. Also from YouTube channel Torah 123. What on earth is the rock-solid numerical structure of the Torah? 10 foundational principles that form the structure of the Torah and possibly the whole of creation. The numerical structure of the Torah is the foundation upon which all our teachings rest. The numerical structure of the Torah. In other words, structure and foliage, numerals and letters, embedded and apparent, oh wow, the structure must have preceded the leaves. the hidden numerical structure of the Torah. Now, I want to caution you about that word hidden. It's not hidden that it's not meant to be found, and it's not deep that, well, I don't want to say I've spent many years researching it, but it's on the surface. Once you understand where this is at, it's amazing. So it's not hidden that it can't be found, and if you just know what to look for, you don't need much training to find it. So the hidden numerical structure of the Torah means it's just really slightly below the surface, just like the leaves on the tree. Just peel back the leaves and you can see all that structure in there. I know I'm saying it again, the numerical structure of the Torah, and you're probably saying this is redundant. Well, you've never heard it before, and you need to keep hearing that to realize that, think about what it is. So what did I tell you before? 10 principles. 10 principles. Well, principles is kind of difficult. When you see what they look like, you'll say, well, they don't seem like principles. Well, I really could not think of any other thing to describe them with accurately in an English term, so I called them principles, but there is this extra way to look at it. And you might consider them as 10 patterns of thought. Patterns of thought that weave the fabric of the Torah. So let's take a glimpse of them. First principle or pattern of thought: the Creator is the foundation of every created thing. And you might say, well, what is that? Well, I want to tell you something. There's only one thing that is not created, and that is the Creator. Everything else is created. So He is the foundation upon which everything that exists, whether it be in our human thoughts, our words, or tangible or intangible, He is the foundation of everything. So obviously, if you had to reduce this thought to one word, it would be foundation or Creator, because they are synonymous. Principle number 2, division, separation, or two aspects of a matter. Principle 3, an encounter with the Creator. Principle 4, action on the part of God or man. Principle 5, honor creators, long life. So you see how they're not like laws of gravity and things like that, these are patterns of thought, but they are principal patterns of thought. These are in the Creator's mind the whole time that He is composing the Torah. Now, I said that He is composing the Torah because, you see, a lot of people don't believe that God is the author of the Torah. There are multiple authors over a long period of time. They fragment the Torah. But as we're going to see, that these patterns of thought are so intricate and so involved in every aspect that it would be rather difficult for a random or a group of men over an extended period of time to work these out so accurately and specifically. So this is a formidable challenge to those who would assault the divine authorship of the Torah. But they don't think that because we could present the case so clearly that they'll accept it, because Pharaoh had a pretty clear vision of God's person and power, but he never accepted it, nor did those who followed him to his demise. The sixth principle, mankind or human nature. The seventh principle, completion, cycle or cycle of repeated events. The eighth principle, an exchange, good or bad. The ninth principle, a good matter, functioning according to the divine plan. The 10th principle, a command, a covenant or a test of a covenant. A special word of thanks to the tool makers. Without the capabilities of the Bible Scholar software, none of this research concerning the numerical structure of the Torah would have been within my grasp. You can examine and purchase Bible Scholar software at this web address. All Hebrew consonant, syllable, and word searches. All punctuation and vowel pointing. All Hebrew to English translations and quotations. All the above tasks were performed with the Bible Scholar software. Microsoft PowerPoint provided a creative platform to pictorially present the truths of the numerical structure of the Torah. Please note that I do not receive any compensation from the Bible Scholar software. All quotations from the Hebrew Bible are from the Bible Scholar software unless otherwise designated. Permission to use these quotations has not been requested since they are used according to the purpose and design of the software in an academic venue. As a scholar researching the numerical structure, one would have to daily seek permission to publish each aspect of research. That is how reliant I am upon this software. The multitude of unique searches required to demonstrate the existence and validity of the underlying numerical structure could not be efficiently accomplished without a computer, the Bible Scholar search engine, and its accompanying translation. Dear friends, this is Herbie, my primary student. He is my inner self who, like an inquisitive child, asks many questions out of love and respect. He persists until he gets a suitable answer. Over the years, his questions have become more challenging and his persistence is often unyielding. His quest for Torah knowledge began by observing and listening. Please, learn as you go and at your own pace. Casually enjoy the sights and make your own connections along the way. Pause the video anytime you wish. Please do not pressure yourself to retain all that you have encountered. The Torah, by nature, is repetitive. In this discussion, we are going to assemble our findings, analyze the data, and draw a reasonable conclusion. Whatever our findings may reveal, I am reasonably confident in saying that we did our best to understand the author, the creator, and his text. So let us get to work. Be enlightened. Learn what you can. Keep moving toward the light of the Creator. Step 1. The first occurrence of Beit in the Torah. Now, we spent a lot of time on this. The first occurrence of Beit is found in the word Bereshit, Be, inside, Reshit, first of. Found in vessel or verse, Bereshit 1:1. In the beginning, those three words are combined or formed in this one Hebrew word, Bereshit. God created the heaven and the earth. Here we see Bereshit 1:1. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. A poor translation according to the contextual usage of Reshit elsewhere in the Torah. Bereshit 1:1, inside, Beit, the first of Reshit, Elohim created the whole of the heavens and the whole of the earth. Literal, according to the contextual usage of Reshit, by the Creator. The word Bereshit is only found this one time in the Torah and is incorrectly translated in relation to the concept of time. The word Reshit is found next in the Torah relating to 4 cities in a geographical place called the land of Shinar, found in Bereshit 10:10. And in this case, it is also incorrectly translated in relation to the concept of time. Reshit is not a time-related concept, as shall be fully examined in the next series of discussions. Bereshit 10:10. And the beginning, Reshit, of his kingdom was Babel and Erech and Akkad and Calneh in the land of Shinar. A poor translation according to the contextual usage of Reshit elsewhere in the Torah. Bereshit 10:10. And the first of Reshit, of his kingdom, was Babel, Erech, Akkad, and Calneh in the land of Shinar. Literal, according to the contextual usage of Reshit by the Creator. All translations are affected by philosophies, religions, and human emotions. The understanding that the word Rashit is not related to the concept of time can only be established by recognizing the Creator's usage of Rashit in the context of the Torah. Our next Hebrew Immersion series shall examine the Creator's usage of Rashit in the context of the Torah. The foundation of the word Bereshit is inside. Our understanding of Bereshit must be founded upon the foundation of inside. Step 2. Now we're going to find the first word beginning with Beit in the Torah. The first word to begin with Beit, the word, of course, Bereshit. Be, inside, Rashit, first of. Vessel, Bereshit 1:1, in the beginning God created the heaven and the earth. By divine design, the first word to begin with Beit is a combination of the conjunction inside and the word first of. Why did the Creator choose to begin the Torah with Bereshit? That's a question we need to ask. Did the Creator think that time was the most important foundational fact to know? Another good question. Or is the ongoing pattern of how the Creator works within His creation the most important foundational fact to know? We only learn by questioning the text. True to the second principle of the numerical structure of the Torah, the word Bereshit, which begins with the consonant Beit, has two aspects: inside and first of something. The first aspect is related to inside, some tangible thing, as opposed to outside or peripheral to the tangible entity. The second aspect is related to the first of something tangible, such as the whole of the heavens and the whole of the earth. Step 3. The first occurrence of the consonant name Beit in the Torah. Bereshit 6:14. Make an ark of gopher wood. Rooms shall you make in the ark, and shall pitch it inside, Beit, and outside with pitch. The consonant name, according to its contextual usage, is first found in the Torah meaning inside. You see over there the Hebrew word Beit, the three consonants Beit, that is the consonant name for Beit, and they are in red. So that consonant name is found within that word. So the first place that consonant name is found in the Torah is in relation to inside. Noach, start pitching the ark here. Kind of like a command, isn't it? The consonant name also instructs Noach where to commence his task of pitching or coating the ark with pitch from the inside. This precise definition of Beit differs from the alternative sources such as dictionaries and paleo inscriptions. True to the third principle of the numerical structure of the Torah, the consonant Beit is related to a divine encounter with the Creator. The divine encounter is the command or instructions given to Noah concerning the fabrication of the ark. The divine encounter in relation to the consonant Beit is found in the third and final command contained in that divine word of instruction. The first 18 occurrences of Beit in the Torah form the life pattern, and here they are. We have gone over all of these occurrences. We have previously covered each of these 18 occurrences of Beit. In this chart, we have cataloged them according to the numerical principles, utilizing one or two key terms. Here is the column, and below they are cataloged according to each occurrence and its corresponding numerical principle. Our fourth step might be related to the fourth principle of the numerical structure of the Torah, and the consonant Beit could be related to action on the part of the Creator. All of these 18 occurrences are action where he specifically used this consonant in such a fashion that we might better understand what it means. The action is demonstrated in the first 18 consecutive uses of the consonant Beit in the Torah. One must endeavor to become a servant of context and not a servant of translations. Translations, as we talked about earlier, are led by many other factors. But what we have here, we are examining how the author of the Torah used each consonant, which reveals his perspective on the consonant and not the perspective of men or other readers over the ages. The Creator has provided the numerical structure for the benefit of the reader's instruction. Let's use it. It's there to help us. That's what it was designed for. I know this has been highly technical probably for the reader, and please don't shy away from this, because eventually I'm going to be able to show you where the layperson can sit down with his Torah and he can actually count the Hebrew words and apply the principles of the numerical structure and understand the Creator's perspective in composing each verse or vessel of the Torah. There are 5,846 verses, I believe. Can you imagine that? It's like being able to have the Creator's notes and outline in front of you when you're reading the Torah. And this is for the layperson. You do not have to know or have a technical knowledge of Hebrew. If you have a interlinear translation with you where you can count the Hebrew words. This is coming up. We haven't got there yet. But don't think that this is the scholar's world. This is meant for the everyday person. God put this here to help you to be able to comprehend the text according to his perspective. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Step 5, the pattern of divine perspective. And there are 7 occurrences in this, and its core. Here is the divine pattern of 7, and if you'll notice at the column on your left, the first entry there, 1 and 1. Okay, now of the pattern of out of the pattern of 18, this divine perspective is found, and the first one is also the first one of both patterns. However, the second one is the third one of the pattern of 18. The third one is the 7th one of the pattern of 18. The 4th one is the 9th one of the pattern of 18. The 5th is the 10th pattern, or 10th one of the pattern of 18. The 6th is the 13th of the pattern of 18, and the 7th is the 18th of the pattern of 18. I know it sounds kind of confusing, but this will always be the case. If we want to understand something from the divine perspective, we can take the first 18 occurrences of a matter, any Torah matter, and catalog them. And if we successfully catalog them, we will be able to derive this divine pattern out of there. This is how he views something, okay? His perspective on, in this case, Beit. And then on the far right, we have aligned those according to the numerical principles. The pattern, excuse me, the pattern of divine perspective consists of 7 special occurrences. The core of the pattern of divine perspective has a single occurrence. Okay, now in this 7 occurrences, the core of this is one single occurrence. Right there. Notice that it is the 4th one. It is the absolute center or core of this divine perspective. And so we can see right there that Beit is found in the word birkia, meaning in the firmament. It means inside something, okay? Not time. The firmament is a reality, a tangible reality. The parallel relationship between 4 and 9 is also found on the tablets of the testimony, where the 4th word concerning the Sabbath is parallel to the 9th word concerning false testimony. You see on the far left of our core thing, 4 and 9 are related. And on the tablets of the testimony, the 4th commandment is parallel with the 9th commandment. Interesting. Step 6, find the core of the life pattern. Now, you know the core of the previous pattern, there were 7 in the previous pattern, so it's odd. So it's going to have an even amount on each side. But if we're going to find the core of the life pattern of 18, it's going to be a little different. Notice the core of the life pattern is 2. It takes 2 occurrences to make the core of this. If we said the 9th occurrence was the core, we would be incorrect because it would be imbalanced. And if we said only the 10th was, that would be incorrect because then it would be imbalanced the other way. So the core of this requires 2 occurrences. And it's interesting we have to look at the life pattern is concerning man. Okay, the life pattern is concerning man. The previous pattern of divine perspective is concerning God. The core of the life pattern of 18 occurrences involves 2 occurrences, the 9th and the 10th. The core of the life pattern provides the testimony of 2 witnesses. The 2 witnesses testify that inside the firmament is the same as between 2 entities. You see that? Now you remember the pattern of divine perspective had 7 occurrences, but here we're going to use in step 7 the root pattern of the divine perspective. So in other words, there's a pattern within the pattern of 7. And here we have it, the root pattern. The first occurrence is the foundation. The 9th occurrence is the core. And the 18th occurrence is the culmination. The root pattern of the divine perspective comprises the foundation, core, and culmination of the consonant usage in the first 18 occurrences. Most Hebrew words are built upon 3 consonant verb roots, and perhaps the divine perspective is related to 3 specific occurrences as well. Perhaps the flow of divine thought follows the progression of these 3 elements of the pattern of divine perspective. Now, common to the life pattern, which relates to man, and the pattern of divine perspective, is the 9th principle. 9th principle is functional. To, good, something functioning according to the divine plan. Both the 9th principle and the 9th occurrence of a matter are significant for man's ability to function according to the Creator's plan. They are significant because they are common to the cores of the life pattern and the pattern of divine perspective. This is both a vital and challenging insight into the divine perspective on a matter. I say vital because it really gets us to the core of something to understand what really it is in both perspectives. But I say challenging because there are going to be times you're going to look at it and say, well, how does that fit? And we need to understand that we need to follow the structure. That's what the numerical structure does. It guides us to the Creator's pattern of thought, not necessarily our pattern of thought, which could run counter to his. From my notes, a contextual primer of the Hebrew alphabet, utilizing the numerical structure of the Torah. Over the past 5 years, I have compiled a substantial amount of notes regarding the Creator's usage of each Hebrew consonant in the Torah. Those observations have brought to light the numerical structure which is embedded in every facet of the Torah. The past 5 discussions concerning the consonant Beit are examples of the depth of research regarding every consonant in the upcoming book, A Contextual Primer of the Hebrew Alphabet. The same methods are applied to all our Torah research. Now, before we go, we really need to differentiate between lookalikes. Now, we spend a lot of time, and think for yourself how much, if you have followed this series of 4 lectures, that you learned about the Torah and you only looked at the first consonant of the Torah. I mean, it's amazing. But there it is, the first consonant of the Torah, Beit. Beit. It is also the first Begad Kapat consonant. And there's a lookalike. This is confusing to the novice, and it can catch you when your eyes get blurry, or if the print is not good, the lighting's not good. We can misread these letters real easy because, for myself, other people not so maybe, but Hebrew is not my first language. So these 2 letters do have an overall similarity, but there are distinctions, and we need to be able to distinguish between these. This letter is Kaf, and it also happens to be the 4th Begad Kapat consonant. So we need to be able to tell the difference between a Beit and a Kaf. How can we easily distinguish between these 2 similar consonants? Beit rests on a firm foundation, which protrudes beyond the right side of the consonant body. Now remember, Beit is the foundation of the Torah, and so Beit is going to rest on a good foundation. You see how the foundation extends beyond the body of the letter. There are other distinguishing features, but the platform protrusion is evident in all fonts. As with any language or alphabet, there are different types of fonts, and some fonts you really have to look closely to see just exactly what a letter is because of stylistic things. However, all those things aside, you'll always be able to tell by that protrusion on the right side of the consonant. Now you can see that the Beit is more squared off than and the Kaf is more rounded shape. And there are probably other things that you can, but that extension of the foundation or platform, by all means, is the most helpful in all situations. Beit is the first of the 7 twofold consonants to be introduced in the Torah. And if you remember, we looked at these consonants before. There's Beit, and the twofold nature is Beit. And if we list them according to the numerical structure using one word, Beit is the foundation of the Bagad Kapat consonants. Now, I'm sure you probably, if you're new to this, you may get confused. Say, well, how can you keep changing all these things? But you have to realize that everything has a context. And right now, we're not talking about the context of the Torah. We're talking about the context of 7 double-sounded Hebrew consonants. That's the context. So it's different than the context of the Torah. So in the context of these 7 double-sounded consonants, Beit is the foundation. Gimel follows principle number 2, division. Dalet follows principle number 3, encounter. Kaf, principle number 4, action. Pei, principle 5, respect. Tav, principle 6, mankind. And Shin, seen, principle number 7, completion. Now, I'm not going to explain what these mean. I'm just showing you this is how you can also investigate the nature of these Begad Kapat consonants. I don't know that anybody's ever done it. I have not really put it to the test, but the numerical structure of the Torah is woven everywhere. Now you say, oh gosh, how can that be? But let me tell you, go back to our tree. You're going to find if you were to put each aspect of the tree under an element, under a microscope, you would find a underlying structure that went from the roots to the trunk, to the limbs, to the branches, to the stems, and to the leaves. That structure is going to be found throughout. And this is the case in everything that the Creator has created. There is an underlying structure. So you have to realize that you're going to find this numerical structure in any aspect of the Torah, and the Bagad Kapat letters are an aspect of the Torah. A final overview of the series on Beit. Beit 101 presented an introduction to the consonant Beit, the first consonant of the Torah. Beit 102 examined the 2 aspects of the consonant Beit. Beit 103 examined the first 18 occurrences of the consonant Beit. Beit 104 investigated Beit beyond the first 18 occurrences. Beit 105 related our investigation of Beit to the contextual primer of the Hebrew alphabet. A closing word of instruction to a man of understanding, a maskil. Jeremiah 9:22-23. Thus says the Lord, let not the wise man glory in his wisdom, nor let the mighty man glory in his might. Let not the rich man glory in his riches. But let him who glories glory in this, that he understands and knows me, that I am the Lord who exercises loving kindness, justice, and righteousness in the earth. For in these things I delight, says the Lord. Amen. Baruch atah Hashem. Oh, wow. The Torah is truly a luminous lamp upon our path of understanding. Before you leave, if you would like to see more videos related to the numerical structure of the Torah, please tell your friends and family about our YouTube channel, Torah 123, and our website, avipublications.com. Subscribe to our channel. Ring the bell. Most of all, share what you have learned. And please, continue to our next series, Reshit Immersion series. Please join us for our next journey down the path of understanding concerning the numerical structure of the Torah. Also, please visit avipublications.com and Torah 123 for more informative articles related to the numerical structure of the Torah. Shalom. Teaching timeless Torah truths that are innovative, informative, and imperative. Torah 123, Avi Publications. Shalom.